Imagine waking up tomorrow with no motivation, no confidence, no guarantee that anything you do today will work. Now imagine still getting up, still training, still becoming dangerous.
That was the difference between Bruce Lee and almost everyone else who ever wanted to be strong. He didn't wait to feel ready.
So what did he actually do every single day that made his mind almost impossible to break? What was he training when no one was watching? And what did he do on the mornings he didn't feel like doing anything at all? We're about to find out. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to build the same system into your own life.
Where do I even begin?
Most people already know what they should be doing. They know they should train, should focus, should stop making excuses, and yet knowing changes almost nothing.
Because the question most people ask is the wrong question. They ask, do I feel motivated today?
Bruce Lee's philosophy asks something completely different. Not how do I feel, but what needs to be done.
That single shift, from feeling to function, is the foundation of everything you're about to hear. Stop for a second. How many times this week did you say, I know what I need to do? I just don't feel like doing it.
That sentence explains more about your life than you think.
Bruce Lee didn't leave behind a perfectly documented, hour-by-hour daily schedule. But his training journals, his writings, his interviews, and the accounts of people who trained beside him reveal something remarkably consistent. Not a perfect routine, but a repeated pattern.
And that pattern is what we're going to walk through, piece by piece.
Bruce Lee treated the early morning as sacred. Not because mornings are magical, but because they're undefended. No emails yet, no phone calls, no one else's opinion of what your day should look like.
By multiple accounts, Bruce Lee was training his body and his mind before most of the city had even woken up. Not because discipline requires a specific hour, but because winning the first hour meant he never had to negotiate with himself for the rest of the day. How many mornings have you reached for your phone before you've even decided what kind of day you're going to have? That's not a small habit. That's a surrender.
Before Bruce Lee touched a weight or threw a punch, he did something most people skip entirely. He decided, deliberately, what the day's single most important priority was. Not a list of 20 things. One thing.
Because a mind chasing 20 priorities is a mind that finishes none of them.
Then came movement. Not a workout designed to impress anyone. A workout designed to wake the body up and put the mind in control of it. Even a short burst of physical effort first thing in the morning tells your nervous system before anything else has happened that you are the one in charge today.
That feeling doesn't come from motivation. It comes from motion.
But there was a problem with just training the body. And this is where Bruce Lee did something most people completely misunderstand.
Most people think Bruce Lee's physical training was about becoming a better fighter.
It was about becoming a different person. Repetition does something strange to the human mind. The first time you do something hard, it feels like an event. The 100th time, it starts to feel like identity.
While most people waited for the perfect mood to arrive, Bruce Lee was already moving. 1 repetition became 10, 10 became 100, and eventually repetition stopped feeling like effort. It became identity.
This is deliberate practice. Training in a way that specifically targets your weaknesses, not just repeating what's already comfortable.
Loosen
Bruce
your
Lee
grip
was
slightly.
known for isolating
Keep your
one
shoulder
specific
down.
weakness and drilling it relentlessly,
go.
rather than training everything a little.
Psychologists call this discomfort tolerance, the ability to stay in an uncomfortable state without needing to escape it. Every rep your body resists, and you complete anyway, is a rep your mind remembers. Because your nervous system isn't just tracking your muscles, it's tracking your evidence. Every time you follow through on something hard,
Your body keeps
you're building
score
a case for who
of
you
every
are.
promise you keep to yourself.
And every time you quit early, you're building the opposite case. That's why Bruce Lee didn't train to look strong. He trained to become someone his mind could trust.
But there was one part of his routine that mattered even more than any of this. We'll come back to it, because it explains one of the biggest differences between Bruce Lee and ordinary people.
Tomorrow, we go again.
Here's the habit most modern productivity advice completely misses. Bruce Lee wrote things down constantly. Training notes, philosophy, personal reflections, mistakes he wanted to correct.
Not because writing is glamorous, because writing removes the excuse of forgetting.
When your goals live only in your head, they're negotiable. Your mind can quietly edit them the moment things get uncomfortable. But when a goal is written down, specific and undeniable, it becomes a contract you made with yourself.
And Bruce Lee didn't write to feel inspired. He wrote to stay honest.
This connects to something psychologists call decision fatigue. The idea that every choice you make during the day drains a limited reserve of mental energy. The more decisions you leave for later, the weaker your discipline becomes by evening.
Bruce Lee reduced decisions before they happened. He decided in advance what he was training and what mattered that day. So his evening self never had to negotiate with his morning self.
Bruce Lee reduced decisions before they happened. He decided in advance what he was training and what mattered that day, so his evening self never had to negotiate with his morning self. Most people don't fail because they lack willpower late in the day. They fail because they left too many decisions for a version of themselves that was already exhausted.
Remember this idea, because near the end, we're going to turn it into a 24-hour challenge you can start tomorrow.
Remember the promise we made earlier? That there was a habit here more important than anything physical? Here it is.
Bruce Lee wasn't only training his body in that quiet room. He was training his mind to think in a completely different direction, toward the page, not just the punch.
His personal library, by most accounts, held thousands of books: philosophy, psychology, martial arts theory, self-development.
Most people separate the thinker from the fighter. Bruce Lee never did. He wasn't just collecting information, he was refining a personal philosophy, testing ideas against his own experience.
This is self-awareness in its most practical form. Not sitting around analyzing your feelings, but studying your own patterns closely enough to actually
Knowing
change
is not
them.
enough.
Ask yourself, when was the last time you sat with a difficult idea, long enough
You
to
must
actually
apply.
understand it, instead of scrolling
Knowing
past
is
it
not
in 10
enough.
seconds?
He's often paraphrased as saying knowledge alone isn't enough. You have to apply
You must
what you
apply.
learn. That's the difference between information and transformation. You've probably heard Bruce Lee's most famous idea already: be like water. Most people repeat that phrase without ever understanding what it actually requires psychologically. Water doesn't fight the shape of the container it's poured into. It doesn't resist, doesn't panic. It adapts completely without losing what it fundamentally is.
That's not passivity. That's controlled adaptability.
Forgive me for
one
what
of
I
the
must
rarest
do.
psychological skills a person can build.
Most people respond to unexpected change with rigidity, gripping tighter to the plan that isn't working. Bruce Lee trained himself to do the opposite, loosen his grip on the plan while tightening his grip on the purpose behind it. This is emotional regulation in action, not suppressing your reaction to a setback, but choosing your response instead of being controlled by your reaction.
A reaction is automatic. A response is chosen. The next time your day falls apart, a plan collapses, someone lets you down, ask yourself one question before you react. What would water do here?
Not, how do I force this back into the shape I wanted? But how do I move through this without losing myself?
Here's something that might be uncomfortable to hear. Bruce Lee did not build his life around feeling motivated. He built it around a system, one that worked whether he felt inspired or not.
Just one last thing to do.
Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable.
That is finally done.
They show
now
up
I can
when
move
they
on to the
want
next
to
project.
and disappear the moment things get difficult.
Motivation
A
fades.
system doesn't ask how
Systems
you feel.
remain.
It asks only one thing. Did you follow the process today?
How many goals have you abandoned simply because the excitement disappeared? That's not a personal failure. That's what happens to everyone who depends on motivation instead of structure.
Bruce Lee reportedly kept training even through injury and exhaustion, with no event to prepare for. Not because rest doesn't matter, it does,
Just one
but
last thing
because
to
he
do.
built consistency into his identity, not into
That
his
is
mood.
finally done. Now I can move on to the next project.
External validation, internal standards. He wasn't training for applause. He was training to meet a standard only he could see.
But a standard only you can see needs one more thing to survive a bad day. Someone has to check whether it was actually met.
So ask yourself something honest. When was the last time you actually reviewed a day you lived? Not scrolled past it, not just fell asleep exhausted, but sat with it for 10 minutes and asked what it taught you.
Most people can't answer that. And that's exactly the gap Bruce Lee closed every single night. A quiet review of what worked, what didn't, and what needed to change tomorrow. This is the habit most people skip entirely, because reviewing your own mistakes is uncomfortable. But without reflection, you don't learn from a day, you just survive it and repeat the same patterns tomorrow. Self-reflection isn't self-criticism. It's closer to being your own coach, honest and specific, forward-looking instead of harsh.
Responsibility, not excuses. Bruce Lee's philosophy consistently returned to one idea. You are responsible for your response to whatever happens to you. Not because life is fair. It isn't. But because responsibility is the only thing that gives you power back. Here's the truth. this entire video has been building toward. Bruce Lee's mental strength wasn't one magical habit, not a secret morning ritual, not a perfect schedule.
It was the accumulation of small daily decisions, made consistently, even when no one was watching, even when he didn't feel like it.
Wake up, train, learn, adapt, reflect, repeat.
6 words. No secret ingredient hidden in there. No trick the rest of us don't have access to.
Which means the thing that made Bruce Lee unbreakable wasn't something he had and you don't. It was something he did on the days it would have been easier not to.
That's a harder truth than he was gifted, but it's a far more useful one. Picture tomorrow morning. Same alarm, same tired body, same temptation to reach for the phone before you've decided anything.
This time, do one thing differently before your feet even hit the floor. Decide the single most important thing you're going to do today before the world gets a vote. Then move your body for even 5 minutes just to prove you're in control before the day starts controlling you.
During the day, when something doesn't go as planned, pause and ask, what would water do here? And somewhere in the day, do one uncomfortable thing on purpose. A hard conversation, a hard set, a hard task you've been avoiding.
And before you sleep, take 10 minutes. Write down what worked, what didn't, and one thing you'll do differently tomorrow.
For the next 24 hours,
It is time to face
stop
this.
asking yourself whether you feel motivated. Ask one question instead. What would the strongest version of me do next?
That one question, repeated enough times, is what actually built Bruce Lee's mind. Not talent, not luck. Repetition applied on purpose. If you're willing to test this for the next 24 hours, comment one word below. Adapt. Not because a comment changes your life, but because committing to something publicly forces you to confront the person you've been saying you want to become.
If this video gave you something
What would the
worth
strongest
carrying into
version of me do
tomorrow,
next?
Subscribe to Mind Shift Rise. We break down the mindset, discipline, and philosophy behind the people who refuse to stay average. Wake up. Train. Learn. Adapt. Reflect. Repeat.
See you in the next one.